sightseeing and that.
We attend like the people having the opportunity here today. Yeah. So today we have a fascinating class, one of the most fascinating classes of the course, as I say every week. And this class is relates really to the core of who we are and what is the reality informed is only through this machine here somewhere inside called the consciousness. It's not even the brain, because the brain is just the physical part, the processing thing, but how it's processing, why it's tapping to certain things. It's all we know related to things that comes through my tikkun, because thoughts are who we are. We said we are our desire. Yeah, we are our desire. Remember we said that? But our desire manifested through our thoughts. So if we sometimes fixed it on a very negative thought, it means that we cannot really try to say that we have a different desire. Because if we have a different desire to pull out from that negative thought pattern, we will do something about it. So no, it cannot be obsessed. And at times we are, and it's hard even to explain why we fall to thought patterns that are so negative, they're so destructive, they are so much putting ourselves down. So we're pretty much creating the entire reality. There is no real reality. The reality is reflected through our sight, through our senses, and we translate it with our consciousness. Now, as much as our consciousness is more elevated, we don't buy into those temporary illusionary things. We know that there's something behind and above, and we demand it in every situation. And we understand there is an higher force. So why people understand that there is a higher force there that overlooking everything, that created everything. And some people are totally oblivion about it and they don't really see it. It's because there are many degrees of different consciousness. And there are people that are in level of consciousness that they can see through others. They're clairvoyant. Have you met people like that ever? Have you met? They're clairvoyant. They can channel things. They can see up to the future. They can see the past. They can sense what you feel. How come? So of course, this is the whole process of what we try to learn. But we know that in order for us to upgrade our consciousness, we need to upgrade our thoughts. Because if those thoughts are on a lower frequency, a lower vibration, we're going to get stuck with really being passive and not able to manifest those great things that we meant to be. So, as we said, change your thoughts, change your destiny. Change your thoughts, change your destiny. Okay? So this is interesting slide that I've been showing even in the beginning course, just to show us how robotic we can become and how the mechanism of living in the past, worrying about the future is something that it's constantly up. So as we said, everything starts from a thought. The thought leads to a feeling. A feeling will lead to a certain behavior. Behavior will cause an experience. The experience will turn into a mood. Yeah, the mood turn into an attitude. Someone with the attitude. It means that he's moody, he's cranky, he's selfish, he's comedian, he's not serious. Yeah, it's like an attitude to life. He's judgmental. Attitude will lead to personality, how we think, feel, and act. And that will create our personal reality. So you see, everything starts from the crown. Now, no wonder, in the 10 luminous emanation, the crown, what we call, is in the top. the top. And the Kabbalists explained to us that spiritually, where we receive the energy, the cosmic energy comes through our top skull. How do you call this? Corona? The crown, the corona. And that's the reason why many spiritual people wear covering. It's not like this religious kind of clothing. There is a spiritual reason to that. So you see many people that dealing with spirituality tend to cover themselves, especially men, by the way, because men are structured different than women. Okay? So physically, spiritually too. And everything starts from the DNA, from the very seed level. And from the seed level, as you see, this loop starting to take place. So if I'm thinking the same thoughts every day, and we have, like they say, like 10,000 thoughts a day, and all those thoughts are repetitive for years, do you see yourself having the same thought pattern from childhood sometimes? Do you see sometimes? Do you recognize that sometimes? That the same way you've been feeling and processing things when you were a child, it's still to this very day. Did you ask why? I mean, something that we need to ask, of course. Now we know it's part of the tikkun. The thought patterns are part of the tikkun. But in order for us to change our reality, we have to work on those thoughts. So there was like this program that was inserted into this hard drive, the brain. And with the brain, what happens? We are running on the same thought patterns constantly, all the time. And what those thoughts can tell us? Can tell us a lot of things. It can show us that I'm pessimistic. It can show me that things will never happen. It can convince me that people are bad. People are not changing. I will never be successful. I'm not worthy. I'm not deserving of love. I'm not talented. Things are not working for me. Sounds familiar? I don't love myself. There are many, many, many thought patterns that we have. Yeah. So the moment they're running on a loop without our attention to them and just letting the program run, and I'm not trying to interfere with that. So of course, I'm going to be just a program computers that runs and producing the same thing and running on the same loop. And that's that's where the person has the personal reality. It cannot change unless I'm changing those thoughts. So today we are excited that to introduce to you the technology, how we can change the thoughts and why the thoughts are the way they are and why they are repetitive, as we said, because it's related to our tikkun, they are repetitive. So we need to think what's causing us to start to think in a certain way and how we can manipulate, how we can hack the system. We want to hack this computer. Without hacking this hard drive and getting out of that loop, nothing is changing. Nothing is changing. And usually, as we see, things just getting worse with age. Because the idea is that the thoughts and feelings, they produce chemicals in the body. Yeah, stress. What's stress producing? Cortisol. Yeah? Cortisol. Most of us here in this room are addicted to cortisol. This means that we need the stress. We don't want to be stressed, but the body says, be in stress because I need you to produce this cortisol and I'm addicted to it. So please give it to me. Okay? And there are many chemicals that comes through different feelings. And as many neuroscientists says this day, Dr. Joe Dispenza, that we are living on our own drugs. We're producing more drugs than any toxins that comes to us from the outside. So now everyone has this awareness, I need to eat organic, and you have all those acts on Instagram, how to wash your clothing without detergents, and you take baking sodas and you put this and a little bit of vinegar, and it's becoming amazingly. Yeah, I love those things, but we need to remember that those are external. What about those that we produce from the inside? They're already in the vein. From the external, it takes time to get to the veins and to the organ. Those are produced from within. Can you imagine? Have you thought about it? Are you conscious about? Yes or no? So, and all what relates to the different addictions, to different food, what causing us to jump on the cake and the ice cream when we are a bit, depressed or, and fell down. Why? What's causing us to do that? Why we think the sugar will compensate of that? Yeah. And why we constantly seeking for sugar and carbs? Who's demanding those? My soul. Yeah, which the body? It's not even the body, It's the microbes, it's the parasites, it's external things that are living inside of us that they calling the shots, say, feed me, I need the sugar. The parasite said, give me sugar. I need it. And we listen to him. It's like, yes, my parasite. I will give you food and you're gonna poo and pee inside of me, and I'm gonna have a blast of a life. I'm gonna feed you and you're gonna poo inside of me. And for sure, I'm gonna be so healthy because of that. Doesn't make sense. And this is what we do to ourselves without even noticing. So very, very important to be aware. So it's not just about biochemistry. It's not about just the food. Of course, it's important. Everything is important. But the number one thing that we need to take care of is our thought patterns that produce all this kind of chain of effect. Yeah. Because what they made this experiment with rabbits, and they give them a very toxic high carb food, and that caused them eventually a lot of complication. Yeah. So they took one group, they gave them this toxic very high in carb food, messed them up. Okay. Now they take the same food. They gave to a different group of rabbits, but during their eating, they puffed them and they gave them love. They puffed the rabbits, say, "Oh, rabbit, I love you, so great," and they felt puffed. Said nothing happened to the other group. Ta-da! It means that if we produce the love hormone, the dolphins, the endorphins, the serotonins, and all of those good things that we can produce from ourselves, they can compensate on a lot of toxins that we do insert inside of us. You understand? Okay, good. So let's look at it from some of the things that we already learned. Any question, by the way? Like to summarize this part from here, and Lydia, check online if we have something. 1 second, that the online people can hear you.
Ready.
Oh, what more specifically, are thoughts, because thoughts came before feelings, but with babies, the feelings would come first, no? Because they don't have thoughts just as yet. If we're considering that thoughts are the making up of words. So I just want, what is the definition of thoughts?
Yeah, I haven't thought about these subjects from a point of view of a baby, because it's still not developed yet. The brain is not developed. It's known to be Kabbalistically that like in those young, very young years, all their movies that they brought from past lifetime, they're running inside of them. And by them wasting a lot of precious time crying, they actually sweetening all those. So you see children that crying, it's because of their tikkun actually. They're crying a lot nonstop, yeah? And you cannot really satisfy them, their kids. So this is part of their experience. So yeah, but we're talking about us, mature.
So
The
afterwards,
thought will lead to a feeling.
so
But
what?
remember, it's coming back because the feelings, a lot of negative experience will bring back worse negative thought.
Mhm.
It's all in a cycle constantly. Is that making sense?
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's words then. Thoughts are words.
Thoughts are words? No.
Okay,
No.
so
Word is the next thing. No, words relate to actions.
okay.
This is the mouth is the manifester of the upper sphirot, and the ends are the manifester of the lower sphirot. Those are the two manifestors, two malchuts. Okay, so word is manifestation. That's the reason we need to be very cautious what we say, because if I'm saying I'm terrible, am I never going to be successful? I'm actually creating a reality. It's manifesting a reality. It's even worse than thought because it's already manifested. But it came from a thought. A word could not come from nowhere. It will have to go through processing coming from a thought.
So what is the thought? What is a thought?
Thought is part of our consciousness. Yeah. Thought, or what is a consciousness? So even we're going to get to this line. The consciousness is the thought I believe in. It's my belief system. It's the things that moves me, that motivates me, they're also what we call the pre-thoughts. It's like ideas. The pre-thoughts, it's ideas that coming from us, from the cosmos, and trying to lead us somewhere. It's even purer than that. Because the cosmos constantly try to communicate to us so we can grow, so we can change the thought patterns, that we can get more understanding. But let me ask you something. In terms of your experience, of your understanding, of your consciousness, your 10 years ago decision look to you today a bit foolish compared to where you are today? Do you agree? Yes or no?
Mhm. Yes.
A bit immature, naive, stupid, selfish. Why? Because we are constantly evolving. We're supposed to. Yeah. So how come those thoughts that I had 10 years ago are a big change now? So we are evolving, not to the degree we can evolve and in the pace that we should evolve, but we are constantly evolving through experience. And some people sometimes even get much worse, the bad experience in this, domino effect of life can just take them and lead them down, 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 down. But any experience just supposed to grow our consciousness. Yeah, that's the purpose of experiences. Any questions from back home?
I don't know.
Henriette, how do you feel about decisions made from the past? I don't know if it's like, no, let's keep going and I will
Sure.
start.
So thoughts are like the transmitters, by the way. With the thought, I'm transmitting. With the feeling, I'm attracting. You understand? So with an elevated thought and a very strong emotion, I can change an energy in a room. Yeah? Understand what I mean? If I'm super excited and motivated and happy, and it's motivated through a very elevated thought of consciousness, something amazing will happen, which we are not in this frequency on a momentarily level. Do you agree? You need something very strong to pull excitement out of you. Why are we not like jumping out of bed, so excited to seize the day every day? That's a level of consciousness, understanding, wow, the creator is preparing an amazing day for me. I should just go and grab there, and just connect and see what is it. That's a very, very high level of consciousness. And many successful people, even though they don't work in the world of consciousness, entrepreneurs, they are very excited about what they do. That's the bottom line. If it's money making, if it's producing, if it's creative, if it's entertaining, they are excited. And this excitement and their vision manifests things. Okay? So let's try to unpack it and understand how things really starting. So another way to look at it, something will trigger me, okay? An event, something that happened, an occurrence, something being said to me. Any kind of involvement of a situation will trigger something out of me, okay? Immediately, I'm going to have a reactive feeling, okay? So it's me, like emotion will start, yeah? And then I have this part of me of the thoughts, of the way the opponent wants me to believe in things, yeah? So something been triggered, reactive feeling, thought. Okay, this is how it goes. So, for example, my daughter acted out of control, awakened fear and panic. What was the voice of the opponent? She doesn't get it. I am the worst parent. This is the reaction. This is the beliefs that coming. I mean, it's not like something that starts. When you see the voice of the opponent, always remember that those seeds of thoughts are already inserted inside of you, and they're there because of your tikkun. It's not that it's coming new patterns. They're already there. They're already those thoughts, this consciousness, that limited consciousness that come from the opponent is already there. The trigger is just to bring them up. It's a gift, the trigger. We don't like it, but it's a gift because it's showing us where we are. Okay? Yes? Yes.
It doesn't have to go in that point.
Okay, go.
Yes. So does it have to go in exactly that order where it's trigger and then reacting feelings and voice of the opponent, or kind of go the other way?
No, it's a cycle. So now the thoughts can lead also to emotions and different triggers and different reactions. And this is like running in some kind of an automatic thing that we lack in control. We say, oh, stop. I have to get out of this loop. To say, okay, those thoughts are not me. Whatever the opponents tell me, it's limited. It's not necessarily the truth. Okay? So, as we said, consciousness is everything. And what is consciousness? So we said consciousness is pretty much the thoughts that I'm buying into, the thoughts that I believe in. Now, if I believe that I can raise myself and just float on the ground and I don't have to walk, it could be that if I believe in it so much, I can defy gravity. Some people said that they've been doing that, There are many different masters in Japan in China that that I don't know if they elevated. I never was able to find someone that truly elevated. You see it, think, but I don't know if it was proven. But the other thing, yes. So the master called to 10 of his students, very strong students, in one of those martial arts, and he said, "Try to lift me." And he decided that he connects to the roots of the tree. And he just and they cannot lift him. That's something that I saw. Have you seen that those things? It's power of consciousness, guys. This is power of thought. It's something that you truly can believe into. Yeah. So we're doing incredible things. Those people that bending spoons, in metrics say, yeah, but the spoon doesn't exist. So I can.
See the monks with the like jump into like the below zero water, and then they'll come out like they're on a below there, and then they'll put like the towel on, and they can raise their body temperature. It's been documented. They can raise their body temperature to like dry the towel off from after jumping in like below zero water. That I've seen. That's been documented.
What about the Iceman that we
Yeah,
walk,
again, it's mind over matter. There's some miraculous things
Exactly.
people do with the concentration. A lot of crazy things.
That's consciousness. It's the thoughts we believe in. So trigger, reactive feeling, the thoughts. The thoughts that we want to deal with today, the thoughts that we want to elevate, is the thought that's coming from the opponent. That's the biggest problem that we have, those limited thoughts, those selfish thoughts, those putting me down thoughts, those pessimistic, finite thoughts that things are never going to be okay. And the opponent is finding proofs for me all the time to justify those thoughts. So let's try to do a workshop now and try to take an example of an event in your life when something triggered you and then you saw what were your reactive feeling. I was grumpy, I was sad, I was vulnerable, emotional, I was fearful, I was angry. Yeah? And what's the thoughts that the opponent inserted inside of you? What were the thoughts that been leading to that? So try to write down, go through those. You're very quiet today. Try to identify a major negative belief that you have about yourself. You see that it usually comes with patterns.
Repeat the question. Are you able to put them there for online people? Can you put the question?
The next questions? No, I want to start with that.
Okay. Can you repeat what you-
So what we need to do is to go through that process of this triangle, find something that triggers you, see what where your reactive feelings were, and what thoughts of the opponent, those negative patterns that came from the opponent to you. Remember the example we said before? Can you bring back the So this was the example. So whenever someone ready and wants to share with us, it would be great. Something similar, an example. Recognize the times that someone did something to you that you can carry to awaken certain feelings of hurt that you can carry thought pattern around that for 1 week, thinking about it, say, oh, why it's happening, why do it to me? And then the opponent starts speaking to you about the situation. Saying, yeah, he's the worst person in the world, and I have to do this. And you start planning how to destroy him and all of those things. Everyone is in different ways. Yeah? It's happened to us?
I had something that happened many years ago. Oh.
Oh, thank you, Joy.
Yes.
I wouldn't react this way today. So it's very interesting how I've evolved. But some guy, I was waiting for a parking spot and he knew I was waiting. He took my parking spot and I went automatically ballistic. Like I could just feel this anger and every thought in my mind that I could say to him was brewing. I literally got out of my car.
Yeah.
Out of my car. I had no fear. Okay, this is a guy and I'm walking out of my car. I'm not going to say what I said.
Right.
It was just, I went crazy. I was like a mental person.
Wow.
I look back at it and I say, who was that girl? Like that woman? Because today I'm just so chill. I'm very chill. And I thought he was so entitled, so egotistical, so rude, all these things. And I just wanted him to know it. Like I made it my business. I wanted him to know it. So yeah, he was just looking at me
thought
like,
you're right also.
but I was right, but I shouldn't have reacted like that. And I wouldn't do that today. I would just say, okay, take the spot, goodbye. But I'm sure I went ballistic.
I'm always in panic when I get to Costco. There is a fight there on the parking spots.
You get into a fight?
No, there are fights.
Oh, yeah.
Every person
You
they
don't have
they're
one.
looking, it's like sharks that looking for parking spots. And so I'm big careful and I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do? Where am I gonna put the car? And this was the time they're stealing your parking spots, They say, where I'm gonna park to block the people to this. And I'm like, I get nervous. Because you want to be stuck in the parking lot for hours. You have another hour inside, you don't want to.
It's just amazing how fast it comes up. Like it's the thought. It almost is like the feeling came before the thought. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, nice example. Something more current, someone would just want to expose himself today.
I can't think.
No, listen, if we are angels already, it's okay.
Not an angel.
You have to prove to us. Fly around. Yes, more examples. Please. Here.
So, sorry. So I have two of the same kind of scenarios that happened.
Yeah, try to follow the
Yeah.
trigger. What was the trigger?
Okay, so the trigger was that I went to this get together and I brought my laptop with so I can do some work, even though I shouldn't have brought it with me. And this guy was pretty drunk, so he spilled this thing onto my laptop and he ruined it. Yeah, so and then I had done like almost like 15 pages of this paper that I needed to turn in that I was procrastinating on. So like I didn't even save it. It was not, So the reactory feeling was anger and a lot more things. And the voice said, of course, to probably hurt him, right? So that's the one. That's the one thing. And
Like to get into a fight or
yeah, for sure. Right. So yeah, because I was just, and then he just said, well, why would I bring it there? It's not like he even cared. He just said, why would I bring the laptop to Which is right in a sense. Why did I bring it? But still, like he could have apologized. So, and at the moment, I just didn't even care whether he apologized or not. Just he was just acting really silly. So that's the one, like as far as he's concerned. But the second one was about myself. So the reactive feeling was that I shouldn't have brought it there, so it was shame. And then the voice of the opponent was, since I had to get a new laptop and I couldn't afford to do it, I had to ask my parents to do it for me. And they had just bought the laptop like a month ago. So it was like a double shame, right? So it's like,
so the laptop was
yeah, it was destroyed.
Was destroyed.
Yeah,
Oh.
it was destroyed, right? So the one feeling was I wanted to hurt him. And then the second one was for myself, like I have to ask these people to buy it for me again. And then, yeah, I'm not just these people, but, yeah. So,
Yeah. So what your opponent is telling you about that?
that I should have been more responsible and I shouldn't have went there. I had no business going there and it wouldn't have made any difference to hurt the guy. But that's not what my opponent is saying. That's what I'm thinking now. At the moment, it was completely the opposite. Right? So.
So on one end, the opponent tell you it's his fault, and then the opponent told you it's your fault.
Yeah, exactly. It's his fault. And then the second time, it's like, well, you're not worth to ask for a new one. You should just work on by your own, and like the better shame kind of thing.
Mm.
So
That's nice. Anyone else?
We have someone online who would like to share.
Please.
Maybe they unmute themselves.
Sure.
Danny, would you like to share with us?
Yeah, I can try. Can you guys hear me? If you can't hear me, it's no problem.
Yeah, we
Yes.
can.
Okay. Okay. So, it's a work situation. I've been thinking about it all week. I share working space with a colleague who is understandably going through a pretty rough time at work, but it's coming out in she's being really mean and really harsh with students. And some of the students we share, some are hers, some are mine. Yeah, and I just had a huge reaction to it this week. My emotions, anger, fear, frustration, sadness. But I'm trying to identify like the thoughts, and the thoughts so far are kind of like questions, like, how am I going to deal with this? How am I going to approach this? Or I guess more definitively, like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to deal with this. Like, she's a very strong personality and I hate conflict. I'm like, this needs to be dealt with, but I don't know how I'm going to do it. So I don't know. It's a lot this week. It's just been like in my head around how can I peacefully kind of deal with this with my colleague.
So pretty much the voice of the opponent told you, you don't have what it takes to deal with it.
Okay. That works.
I think that's what I heard.
that could work. Okay.
No,
Thank
we have to see its voice clearly, because the voice of the opponent is very deceiving. It's kind of, it's eating itself, like
Right.
the voice, and we want to hear that negative consciousness that we carry.
Got it. That's very clear. May I
Yeah.
ask a quick question while I have you?
Sure.
On the very first slide in the circle, you talked about like reality and stuff, and then it was thoughts preceded feelings. And in this slide, in the triangle, we have the trigger and then feelings and then thoughts. So I'm just curious as to what comes first.
Yeah. So it depends where you catch it on the wheel, isn't it? But it is a wheel. So
Okay.
So if a thought will, and eventually when we're going to control our thoughts, everything going to start changing. Yeah. If we work on the thought levels, because it's the highest and the deepest. That's the reason we start from there. But here we try to pinpoint on what will awaken the voice of the opponent. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but of course, everything is on a loop. So the thought will create a reality, and the experience will create other thoughts, and it's either evolving or either descending in terms of consciousness.
Okay.
And we
So at
need
this
to,
point,
we need to take control somewhere. Somewhere we
right.
need to take control. At times, like before feeling something, and if because triggers will never stop. Because the trigger is the mechanism just to show me where I am with my consciousness and how can I elevate it. Because the whole purpose of what we're doing here now is to understand that the voice of the opponent bring me to a limited vibration and consciousness, and I have to change it, shift it, deal with it, control it, transform it. Okay? And when I will, and I will inject more positivity, and I will look at the higher self, and I see optimism, appreciation more during the day, and more moments of excitement because I am positive of what I'm about to do. Everything start to shift, all my energy shifting. Yeah. So I'm fighting constantly to stay in the thoughts that comes from the light, to listen more to the voice of the light, not to listen to the limited self that comes from the opponent. Is that making sense, Danielle?
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think if I'm interpreting it properly at this point, probably the feelings are more likely to wake me up than the thought. But maybe as I get better at this, I will learn to see the thoughts before it gets to the feeling part.
So again, it depends where you catch it. So let's say you don't have a tree.
Yeah.
Now you have an opportunity of creating your reality. So you're bringing a vision of something very positive that will create an elevated emotion. You understand? If you
Yeah.
were already in an event that you get triggered, now you have to deal with it the way we show it right now. But let's say if you're starting from the thought, say, okay, I want to see myself successful. I see that every event that's coming in my life is just to lead me to be more successful. And I see myself as a force of kindness. I am love. And you work upon it and you feel it and then you project it towards your day. But the times we wake up in the morning with what? With all
Fear.
those worries that we had from yesterday. They immediately kicks in and I have to take charge there. Nothing triggers me. What can trigger me when I wake up in the morning? I mean, there are many things that say, okay, I'm tired, I want to get back to sleep. Yeah. But you have the opportunity to start fresh, to create a Genesis moment. The Kabbalists explain that every day is a Genesis moment, it's creation. It's the opportunity to create creation from the beginning, but we're missing it out because we're returning to the past patterns immediately as robots, you know? Why? It's crazy. So the idea is of taking control. First, understanding how the opponent is so much in control over us, and then taking the wheels to our hands.
Thank you so much.
Yes, if you start in the very morning with a sense of appreciation, a sense of motivation and expectation from the day, you immediately change your vibration and you're feeling better. And you say, yeah, I'm going to wake up early and I'm going to get to exercise and I'm going to do this and I'm going to meditate and and you follow those, the day looks different. The day look different and you just like that. You know?
Is it fair to say that we really manifest through our feelings more than through our thoughts?
Feelings are already branches of the thoughts. So if you put it in a tree, so the roots are the thoughts, the trunks are the feelings, the branches are the actions, and the fruits are the manifestations. So the thought is predating everything. Okay? It's not a feeling. Not. But again, as Daniel shared, it depends where you're catching yourself in the loop. But if you're deciding that my thought creating the reality, which that's the way it is anyways, because I'm projecting the reality only according to my consciousness. Everyone here sees a different reality in the room. Even though you're hearing the same thing, you're experiencing the same atmosphere, you see it differently. If you can only break it down to numbers and mathematics, you see that it's completely different equations. Crazy. So if our thoughts can make us sick, and they do, can our thought make us, with wellness? Yeah? If we have the power to take a healthy body and with depression cause him to be completely destroyed, can with the same thoughts we can empower the body, like it's reminding me this example when this woman saw a child running after the wheel of a car, and she went to the car and she just lifted. Where she got the power from? Yeah. So sometimes, I mean, it was in a survival mode, but a mechanism that she just had to do what she had to do, and that's it. And there is no plan B. And when there is no plan B, you have to get it done. He's saying that one of our biggest problems that we always have plan B. Oh, if this not going to work, so yeah, I'm gonna, because we want to feel safe, but it's destroying all my beautiful plan to do what I really want to do. And that's called skepticism, it's called uncertainty, and that's part of the opponent system too. That's the way.
You're talking a lot about Claude.
That's the subject of the class. Can you do?
Thank you. What about trauma? Trauma that's stored in our body from a very young age. Certain people have gone through horrific things, and it's manifested itself in their body, and it's affected them physically, mentally.
Absolutely.
Okay, so there's no thought there. If that's strictly trauma that's been manifested in different parts of them because of what they've experienced. So I can't see any thought there. I just want your opinion on that.
Yeah, I think it's a good point to clear out. So when I dealt with event that happened, because events happens all the time, difficult events to all of us all the time. That's the way life is, isn't it? So what caused trauma to someone can cause another person to write a book of success. Same event. You understand? One was able with his consciousness to translate it and to deal with it as something that came to grow him. And one resented this negative event that happened all his life, or certain that it became a huge blockages there. And it was already inserted. It's created a programming.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
Without judgment, by the way, we're not here to say this guy is better than
No,
the other.
no.
Everyone has his own tools to deal with whatever happens.
Yeah, I don't think the guy that wrote the book said, I have trauma and I'm going to write a book and I'm going to just do that. And the other guy said, I have trauma and I'm going to just fall apart. I don't think it works.
It's not about saying, it's about the way I respond to it with what I've got, with the tools that I have to deal with it.
I just don't think it's always thought. That's all I'm saying. I think it's a lot of it is feeling.
But remember, there are chains of effect constantly in our body. So if you start from the trauma that happens somewhere around life, so of course this event can affect my entire life later on. That's what we call trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that I cannot deal. Let's say the fear of darkness, that someone scared me as a child in the room, and I was so scared to the level that I cannot stand being in a dark room anymore. Yeah, trauma. But I got convinced by this that this is something that I can care, I should care my entire life. But this is something that the opponent tells me. The opponent convinced me that what happened in childhood need to continuously affect me today. That's what trauma is. Yeah. I've been studying a lot about
I
those
know.
things.
I don't agree with that.
It's not about agreeing. It's, things happening to all of
Of
us.
course they do, but
The question is how much we want to be burdened by them.
But it's not always conscious, David. It's not always conscious.
Of course, because not everyone has the tools. But now we have certain tools that's supposed to help us to be in peace with some of our past traumas.
Yes,
So
of
if you
course.
take this knowledge right now and you apply it to some of your traumatic things that happen in your life, okay? So I say, okay, this has happened. Okay, that's happened. What should I do with it? How can I use it to my own benefit, right? Okay, so and so if you process it right, you can read of the post-trauma effect. Yeah, you understand? It's possible to
I
heal.
totally
It
understand.
doesn't mean that trauma is like a scar that's supposed to stay with you forever.
No, but if it happens to you when you're 2, and when you're 2 years old, you have no memory of that event. Because I study early childhood education.
True,
So
true.
that trauma, let's say you lock a child in a closet, that child is going to be afraid of the dark, as an example you used. And I don't think he's going to grow up and remember, because he's not, that he was locked in a cupboard. So he's going to carry trauma in him. He's not going to be conscious of that.
True.
Okay,
I
that's all I'm
agree with
getting
you.
at. I'm just getting at that, the feeling versus conscious.
I agree
That's
with
all.
you.
Yeah.
I agree with you. And also there are ways to
You get rid
release
of it, of course.
to release those
Yes,
things with
you
some
can.
work.
Yeah.
So as much as we're aware that there might be things, especially if we see that we get very, very stuck in one area, like extremely fearful, extremely stressed, extremely, how do you say, completely frozen in certain area. I need to understand that something is causing it. Now, what do you think? The light wants me to cure that? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Of course.
Yes. So I'm start processing it and seeing, and the light will help me to resolve it. That's the point.
Okay.
That's the point. Yeah, but you're right. Something that happened before my awareness, and I'm not even aware that it happened, and it's causing it. Sure. But even that is a reason from the tikkun perspective. By
A
the way.
reason?
Yeah. Everything has a reason.
Yes, of course.
Everything has a reason.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. Beautiful. So now let's go towards the. Oh, we lost it again, I think. Okay. Now let's go towards the solution. Okay. I need to, in order for me really to identify the voice of the opponent, I need to ask myself how this thought is serving me, helping me. Okay? This is a very good question to ask if I want to start shifting things around. So how does this thought serving me? How is this thought hurting me? Those are the two questions when you already identify like a negative thought pattern within you. You need to ask yourself, what's going on here? Does it help me to be possessed by this pattern right now in my life? No. What does it do to me? Okay. So next question would be, what is my soul voice? You know, This is how you start shifting those negative thought patterns that we have. It's a hard process to do. That's the reason maybe we should journal when a strong event happen in life, or I start to identify, wait a second, I'm running in repetitive patterns in the same thoughts, and it's triggering and causing the same thing to happen. Every time, the same thing. Okay, so how does it help me, this thought? Okay, what's the damage that is causing me? Okay, so can I turn to my soul? Soul, my soul, how are you? I love you. You are who I am. Yeah. How can you help me? What is your voice? I'm tired listening to the voice of my opponent. What is the voice of my soul? So it's work. It's work. Everything is work in life. So start with one pattern, see how it works. Sometimes if it's a very deep pattern, it's not just going to happen just like that. Something that I have to constantly massage and feed and give energy and look at. Okay. So spiritual rule number 8. I am here to transform myself and no one else. We always want to transform the trigger. Trigger, why you are here? Why you broke my computer? You know, why? You know, everything comes from the light. So I shouldn't touch the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. Just work on yourself. Okay? The spiritual tool, transforming my thoughts, will transform my life. If I want to transform my feeling without knowing the thoughts that is behind them, it's not going to work. Not going to work.
Or that again, David? Would you say we're not going to work with something?
If I will try to transform my feelings without seeing what caused those to happen, it's not going to work. Because thoughts are higher than feelings. Feelings are just the effects of thought. And that's probably where we get stuck a lot. Yeah. Because we think, oh, feeling is also, oh, it's so real, it's vivid, it's behind the physical reality, it's inside of me. Yeah, I'm feeling it. Okay, beautiful. Questions? Yes.
I want to clarify, even though you spent significant time already on this. On the lesson number 1, I think the message was that, well, when something triggers us,
Yes.
David, on the lesson number 1, you said that when something triggers us, we can hear some reactions now, the voices, and you define the voice of the opponent, the loud voice trying to stop us, make us small, and so on. Now, in the lesson number 8, you're saying that transforming my thoughts, transforming my life. Practically, does it mean that when I have a reaction, I'm hearing the voice of the opponent trying to stop me, or like?
Yes.
Are you talking about that, like, just catch this voice and instead of kind of following this voice, do something instead?
Replace it with a
Is it
soul voice.
Yeah, is what the transforming my thoughts mean?
Yes, exactly. It's related to everything we said. So the pause is, okay, I identify my opponent. The proactive thing is replacing it with a different thought that's related more to my soul. That's the trick here.
So here on the class number 8, we're just closing this loop.
Yeah, so you see, we're touching everything in class from different angles and breaking it down. So we will see where everything is rooted from. That making sense? But the bottom line eventually is to control my reality through controlling my thoughts. More questions? Yes.
What's your opinion on?
Like this.
Forgetting this. How can I forget it? What is your opinion on sort of combating the opponent by voicing it and is there a chance that by voicing it and depending on who you voice it to, you may make it better, but you may make it worse? So how do you deal with that? Like,
I mean, voicing if I'm angry just to explode on someone.
no,
and
no, no,
expecting-
no, no. Even just talking to a friend and saying saying these are the thoughts that are.
Sure, that's very good actually, because you start to kind of separate yourself from your thoughts.
But should you discern who you share those thoughts with? Is there such a thing of choosing the wrong person to share your thoughts with? And once you do that, things-
Yeah, you need to do it in a supportive environment, because if every person will hear our opponent thoughts, he might think we are a bit crazy. So we need to share it in a very supportive environment.
Right.
Imagine yourself like telling all your negative thoughts to everyone. It's a bit spooky. Yeah.
But could it come back to you though? Like,
What do you mean?
other than it being spooky, could it backfire against you because you didn't follow precise guidance?
If you believe in it, that it's you, and if you the problem that we identify ourselves as the opponent. That's the problem. That's what we're trying to separate. This is also a good point. We identifying ourselves as the opponent. I'm this thought, but it's not. I'm not this thought because I am the soul. So say, if you give your thought a name, you are the opponent. The thought is the opponent. It's not the trigger. The thought is the opponent. And I say, okay, what does it contribute? Nothing. What is damaging me? A lot. So now I want to connect to the real me, the one that wants me to evolve, to grow, to come with the right conclusions. You understand? So if you're calling it, I know it's you, the opponent, putting those thoughts in me. That's the best thing. You're calling it a name.
So the answer is no. There's no backfiring possible unless you perceive it that way.
The backfire is only when you think
That
it's
you are
who
the-
are.
Okay, gotcha.
That's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
problem. Then that's the worst thing.
Right.
Yes.
This evening I've heard you you've used both the word the light and cosmos. Can I assume that's the same thing?
Yes, I guess, because, it's another way to say creator, because there is a cosmic plan to push us towards our greatness. That's the cosmic plan. We not necessarily seeing it or feeling it all the time, or seeing. You can say, "Oh, there is only chaos in this planet. How could it be?" Yeah. Yeah, but when I give example of the cosmos, yeah, it's like this.
It's the light.
The light, the creator force. Creator force. Yes.
Just on number 8, when it says I'm here to transform myself and no one else, isn't it like so our ultimate goal is to be like the light and share, right? So when we share, aren't we in a sense helping someone transform? Or no?
We do have this tikkun correction to evolve the world, not only by living examples. So if you share and you inspire and you motivate and you educate, and not with force, of course, and not even trying to, it's the next level when you experience some kind of transformation, and you feel, wow, would you like to share it or not?
Okay.
Immediately you would like to share it,
Makes sense.
Now you need to find the right path to do it that will be appropriate to this person, to this environment.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. But we do want to accelerate the growth of evolution. That's part. When it's referred to here, it's talk about the trigger, like the messenger. Say, I want to be right, like he's the bad guy, but I want to be right, yeah? Anything else? Okay. So the spooky energy of Scorpio is creeping in. and the new moon going to be on Friday. And it's a very, very, very powerful month. We know about Scorpio, it's very intense energy. And it is very intense positive energy. But the moment we don't have the right vessel for this month, it can end up in a destruction, you know? So the flood of Noah took place on the month of Scorpio. It's like water that's considered to be mercy turned into a disaster, ruin humanity, yeah? So this is symbolized the Scorpio pretty much. So by connecting together on the new moon, we actually taking control, planting the seed to make it, to build a vessel for that month, pretty much. So you're welcome to join us. In person, we're going to have dinner too. And whoever wants to do it online can hear some consciousness, some astrology forecast, and connect with us too. Okay? So, yes.
We have until tomorrow for the early bird prices of the in-person. Okay.
Yeah, it's all of you guys that wants to experience some of community, students that already been around, and you want to be seeing how they like, connect to the community. Welcome to join that. It's very nice. Yeah, so we have it online too, and the intensive Kabbalah one, just to get on to everyone can get to their family on time for Christmas. 5 sessions, hour and a half, a bit longer class. Okay, so we can give you all the curriculum there, and it's pretty much getting deeper into the tikkun again, adding personal eyes into the tikkun. So online, in person, you're welcome to join us. Yeah. Anything else, Evidet? Okay, beautiful. So what I want us to work with the groups online and here, if people can identify again on their part of their what triggered them this event, how does it help you and how does it hurt you? Bring it, expose it, share it with someone else. It's gonna every time I share about my processes, it's gonna give me greater understanding. Okay, so sit down in your groups and talk about this process and see again and try to think also what would be the voice of the soul and share it. What would your soul do? What you higher self do? Okay, thank you very much, everyone.